Hey guys, Fourfinger here, and we finally got some Path of Exile 2 news. Besides the new Waystone Stash tab that we got few days ago, they are planning to release 0.2 in approximately 1 month, and just before that we are getting a small event to Act 3, which is starting on March 2nd. This is going to be like few races, and if you win like a top place as your class in any of them, you can actually get some of the demigod items as prizes. Now those items are mostly cosmetic, but this race is also going to be really fun to run. I'm going to do it myself. But I imagine most of the people are looking to the changes that 0.2 brings. Now, when the content does come, I'll be covering whatever we see, but for now, I'm just going to talk about 5 things that I would really like to see change in Path of Exile 2, and this is not like a crying video or anything like that. I'm really happy with how early access turned out, and as soon as they start adding more like classes, skills, and they change skill tree and add masteries, it's going to be an amazing place. But those are just top 5 things that I don't like, and hopefully they do get changed in the future. So the first thing that I would really love to see get changed is the scaling of the armor, because if you compare armor to other types of defenses, you have energy shield, which you can scale in so many different ways to crazy amounts. You can go at Siri Disdain with hybrid builds, you can go Ghost Fright to like convert life to energy shield and then scale it further. You can get a strength stacker with heroic tragedy timeless jewels. There's just so many ways you can go about scaling it. And then on the right side you have evasion, which you can pretty much just get like a really good energy shield helmet. You don't even have to invest too much in evasion. You get subterfuge mask passive, and then you pretty much can get wind dancer with 30 spirit and a little bit more like evasion rings or maybe one item, and you're looking at like 60 to 70% chance to evade, which is nuts. It's just broken OP. And when you compare it to this side of the tree, it just feels really bad. This side needs a lot of love, because right now it's in a terrible state. There's a lot of nodes that are giving you like reduced attack speed for no reason, while the warrior is already clunky as hell. But I'll leave the skill tree for later, I'm not gonna go too deep into that. Now when you look at the armor formula, at the start of the early access I believe it was 12 in the formula, so it used to be your armor divided by your armor plus 10 times the damage that you took. Now they kind of buffed it in that patch few like weeks ago, and it became 10. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. But basically what does this mean? You need to mitigate 75% of damage taken like you do with the elemental and resistances, which is really low investment. You need to have the armor be 30 times higher than the damage you took. So if you took like 3k damage, you would need 90k armor to reduce 75% of that damage, which is really unbelievably bad. So hopefully this does get buffed. And then you also have stuff on the warrior called like imploding impacts, and this, because the way the formula works, this pretty much makes the armor go into the negatives. So whatever the armor was on the boss, you can invert it to a negative value, and this is just giving you almost no damage once you have really good scaling in the late game. Like they just need to change the formula, they need to figure out how they're gonna scale it, but right now it's so bad. So that's the first thing. Let's go on to the second. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is the general speed of characters in Path of Exile 2, and honestly, it really feels like GGG was kind of on a fence between deciding if they want to go more like PoE 1 playstyle, or if they want to slow the pace down a bit. Now, personally, I love the mapping in Path of Exile 1, getting those super fast characters and farming currency was great, but the campaign in PoE 2 was just perfect. The pacing was perfect. Every item was impactful. You actually had to use combos from your abilities because you didn't have good gear early on, and you had to do boss mechanics, actual gameplay. So now when I think about it, I probably enjoyed it way more. So you can imagine how weird it was once I got Temporalis, and then I started blinking from one point of the map to other in like 2 seconds. It just felt so out of place, and I do understand this is super expensive and game unique and a lot of people can't afford it, I do get that, but it just doesn't feel right, because if they wanted this in the game, why did we even lose the movement abilities from PoE 1? That's just me, it's okay if you guys disagree, totally fine. Now, if you do want to get some movement speed in PoE 2, if you're on a budget, the best way to do so is probably get cooldown recovery rate on corrupted on the shield, so you get a little bit over 50. Then you get blink with the quality, max level as you can, and then you'll get the support gem for extra cooldown recovery rate, plus some cooldown recovery rate from the skill tree, right? And if you put this all on a second weapon, you can pretty much run whatever you want on your main. You kill a pack, you switch weapon, you blink. You kill a pack, you switch a weapon, you blink, and this is really good early on. Now, next thing is for the stat stackers. Everybody probably already knows this. You stack crazy amounts of stats, you get crazy amounts of attack speed from that, and then you have abilities that push you every time you do attack, and because you do like god knows how many attacks per second, you start swimming through maps. So yeah. This one is a really expensive option. You would probably want to get 100%, everything under 100% wouldn't make sense, because you're trying to get 2% movement speed joules, and those. And if you have 2%, if you want to double it, you need 100%, everything under that wouldn't be worth the investment. But the problem is the 100% Adorn Jewel is like 2 mirrors. So yeah, this is not something that I would advise if you're not super rich. Queen of the Forest, you want to corrupt this as well. You want to get this to a lowest number possible, but honestly, if you're not doing a project movement speed like Empyrean, you probably want something around 420. You don't need the best one. It's not going to be too big of a difference. Like, I remember on my build, between going 390 and 420, it was like 7 movement speed. It was like really minor, right? And what I would like to say about this one, this is also fairly expensive, especially if you want to minimax it. You do need to get some intelligence, and then you get the Heroic Tragedy Timeless Jewel to convert intelligence into percent evasion, and then you can get, on cheaper side, maybe around 70 to 100% movement. With full investment, you can get up to 200%, especially if you are Deadeye. So yeah, this one is decent, but like I said, also expensive, but probably cheaper than Temporalis. Temporalis, the usual stuff. You get 3.5 on the cooldown, and then blink, and you just spam it as much as you want. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this, but like I said, if we do want to move this quickly, then just give us the movement abilities, man. I would rather have like all the PoE 1 stuff back, but that's just me. So back to our skill tree, and as we said before, left and bottom side of the tree really need a lot of love, especially when you have stuff like Warrior starting on the left side, and as we said before, it's already really clunky to play. Imagine having to deal with reduced attack speed on top of that, just makes no sense whatsoever. But let's put that on the side. There's just so many useless nodes that I'm not sure who in the hell would pick them. Like, what kind of a freak show build would you have to run to pick this node, right? It's just, there's so many of the nodes like this on the tree right now that I'm not sure like if anybody would ever pick. And I'm just thinking there's some even decent nodes, like not totally useless. You have like accuracy, sure, you need some accuracy, but who in the right mind would pick this over some really good crit nodes and stuff like that? It's just, they either need a buff, and in general, they kind of need to give more flavor to most of the nodes, like we had in PoE 1, because right now, most of those nodes are really basic, like here's your mana regen and skill cost, here's your crit, here's your elemental damage. There's nothing like too complex right now, so I would really love if they added more flavor, and for what I've seen, they will be adding masteries probably soon. Not sure if it's going to be in 0.2 patch, but hopefully soon. Because I don't even think this is going to be a final version of the masteries, this is just a placeholders for now, but we know that they are working on them. So once they do add those on the tree, it will be a little bit more exciting to use and play around. But that's all I'm gonna say for the tree right now. Just a little bit more flavor, maybe remove or change some of those nodes, and fix the left side for the love of the god. Yeah, that's the skill tree. So when it comes to towers, I really love what they did with the new layouts. It feels a lot less tedious to do them now when you're not running the same one over and over again. I just don't see why wouldn't they add like league mechanics on top of the towers. I don't see what's the downside of that. And secondly, why shouldn't this tower be able to buff another tower to give it like quantity or rarity? I know a lot of you are thinking, well, that's because people are running up till the end of the map and not finishing it, so they keep farming it over and over again. Just make it if you kill like almost all mobs that the tower can't be repeated or stuff like that. It shouldn't be too hard. And this would make towers feel a lot more like normal maps with like an extra thing on top, instead of oh, I really need to do a tower so I can buff the rest of my maps. That's at least what I think for right now. If there's something that I'm missing, let me know, but I think this would be like way more interesting to play around, so yeah. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is just general balance of the skills. Now I know they will fix this eventually because this is early access, they need some input before they start, you know, balancing stuff around. But like you have a lot of like spells on Monk which are like physical based that are way worse compared to lightning and cold. Same thing for elemental, like fire spells compared to lightning spells is like on a whole different plane. Even if you didn't fully scale Archmage, they would still feel like decently better than the fire ones, I think. So yeah, that needs a little bit more love. And yeah, overall I'm really happy with how early access went. There's a lot more to be done. There's a lot more complexity to be added over time. But I'm just generally really happy with what we got so far. So yeah guys, thank you for watching. If I probably missed a lot of stuff, I'm just really tired right now. I wanted to make a quick video, so I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, and feel free to ask any questions as usual. See you around, guys.